Line with Get Me Automated. Yeah. I love it. That's the best applause ever. Hey, Ashley, how are you?
Good.
You're enjoying the holiday season so far? I was telling you that the yellow looks really good on you.
Oh, thank you. I know. I'm glad it's cold enough to wear.
Right, finally. The only problem I have is because the sweaters and everything, I get so much static. So
Right.
everything shocks me. Like I get zapped nonstop, and then the hair is like whoosh. Does your hair do that
yes.
too? Oh, that part's kind of annoying. So let's just start let's just give the audience a good idea of what Get Me Automated is. So let's tell everybody about your business.
Okay, yeah. So we're a digital marketing
Pull
agency.
that closer to you there. Turn it. There you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're a digital marketing agency, and we focus on automation. So any kind of sending emails and newsletters, websites, online forms, DocuSign forms.
Right. So actually, since we've been able to get to know each other a little bit better, I've actually figured out so much more that you actually do than when you say that. It's almost like you're like saying, okay, well, we do this and we do this, but really what you do is a whole lot more than that. And
right.
So I'm going to be pulling that out of you today.
Okay.
So the first thing I do want to talk about is digital advertising. So
Okay.
Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about what would you define as actually digital advertising? Because there is everything from Google ads to Facebook ads to Instagram ads to, advertising on websites. And so let's just talk about each one of those.
Okay, yeah. So really, I mean, like you said, there's all different platforms that you can advertise on, and not every platform is right for every business. So, I've never even been on TikTok in my life.
Have you?
It's not relevant to my business or my age group. So, I'm not on it. But if I was selling, under $20 products, I definitely would be on there advertising them. So, you just need to find the platform that's right for your business.
Right.
So,
So you have social media marketing.
yes.
Right. And that's different. Social media marketing is part of digital advertising, correct?
Correct.
All right.
So having an online presence and posting on social media and, having your photo and your videos are the best actually to have. They're going to get the most traction.
Right.
That's more organic. And then on each platform, like LinkedIn even has advertising, or Facebook is big for anyone over, 35 for that. If that's your...
So is that how the age group kind of pans out? Facebook is 35 and over?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Facebook.
Me too, yeah.
But my kids are Instagram.
Instagram, for sure, yeah. So if your target audience is Instagram, you need to meet them where they're at and be there. They're probably not, 20-year-olds are not on LinkedIn, so that's not where you're going to find them.
But I'm giving a conscious effort to learn Instagram better so I can understand it. But the thing that I struggle with Instagram is growth. I know how to help people grow their Facebook pages.
Right.
I know how to invite people. I know how to tag people and things like that to help show immediate growth. I don't know how to do that for companies on Instagram. It's almost like you have to... I don't even know how. Maybe you can explain that.
Right.
That's organic as well, not paid. So.
Right. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, because with Facebook pages, you can just invite all, like you showed us the other day, which is easy, and you'll get probably 10% of those people are gonna follow you. But on Instagram, things like giveaways are good. Where you say if you like all of our social media platforms, we'll give you enter us in their giveaway. Those work really great. You'll get several hundred if you.
Yeah, well, like I said, we had a company on once, and it was BWH Plantco. It's a plant company, and they had almost like a huge 100,000 person following, and I'm like, and it's all organic. I'm like, how did you do that? And that's just exactly what she said.
Yeah,
she was like, we gave away plants, and then we did a little funny kind of contest, and it's invite this friend or do this, or you know what I mean, and that literally got. I didn't know that many people like plants.
People just like winning things. I think that's the thing. I don't think it really matters what it is. They just like the prospect of being able to win something. So that works good.
Right. Yeah. I also just recently learned that you can buy likes.
Yes, but I wouldn't advise that, because who's that vanity number for? Like, you. Like, I wouldn't.
I didn't even know it was. I didn't know it was possible.
Yeah. So I run a couple people's ads who have done that, and so they've bought likes. They're all from overseas, so none of them are in the target audience, which they sell golf-related things. So these people are in Africa, India, China, places where they're not going to be selling this golf thing. And so they're basically wasting money on ads now because it's going to their, followers, which aren't anyone who's going to buy. So I would say
that actually, so they bought the likes. So
right.
There's an ad and it has 200 likes.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody sees that, they're like, oh, wow, they must be really popular.
Right.
But the truth is those likes.
None of those people are really going to be
in their target
right.
demo.
So it's just wasting ad money. So I would always advise don't buy likes, just get them organically. And no one's looking at your number and being like, oh my gosh, she only has 150.
Well, the thing that's actually really ridiculous is to see 200 likes on a reel, and then you open up the reel and you see it's got 50 views.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, right then and there, you're like, yeah, that's not possible.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to like it and not watch it. So,
yeah.
I mean, come on. But I see, like, I would look at that, but not everybody's going to look at that.
And that's good you brought that up, because I've been noticing on my own organic Instagram reels, like if a lot of people like them, or if I go in and like them from other accounts, I'll get a lot less views. But if I just let it go and let it organically do its thing, I'll get like over 1,500, within an hour. So trying to help too much, I think, is kind of can hurt you.
I was having a conversation with somebody just before the show, and we were talking about algorithms and companies that say that they claim that they know the whole thing. And I'm like, if anybody says that they know 100% how to they understand the algorithm and the formula, I'm like, they're lying, because there is no exact science. It's just, I know that there's things that you can do to help. Like
right.
You can look and see what's most beneficial time to post, and like there's statistics.
Right.
But I meant, like I said, there's not a playbook that says this is exactly what you do every single time and you're going to be successful.
Right. And also the algorithm's changing all the time, which and so it's actually good, because we don't want, and like I don't really subscribe to a lot of like gurus who are like digital marketing gurus. I mean,
I don't at all,
because like by the time they're teaching you the lesson that they're trying to teach you, the algorithm's already changed. Yeah, so it's like, that's old news. So just do your thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Just, I meant, stay real, and then that's what's going to do best. But no matter what, you got to have activity.
Right.
Right? I think that you said in BNI, what did you say, seven touches?
Right, 7 to 11 touches until someone would feel comfortable enough to buy from you.
And name off some of those. Do you have them? Like, I mean, you don't have to name them all.
Yeah, no, just like an in-person, like networking, newsletters, Google Ads, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts are great. And then your website, and then your Google reviews.
Right. So that's all the things that you should have in place in order to make sure that when the time comes, people feel comfortable using your service or your product.
Right.
Right. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that at all. And actually, I want to talk about websites a little bit more, because I've run into a thing where somebody's like, I don't need a website. It doesn't serve a purpose. And I don't believe that whatsoever. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I know we're about to go to break. I'm watching that clock.
Oh, yeah.
So like I said, just in general, our website's important.
Very, yes.
Very important.
Because when you search for them, you'll think they're like a fly-by-night company.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to talk more about websites being important when we get back. So everybody stay tuned for more Bad Radio coming up.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. There is no better time than now to visit Premier Couple Superstore, because they have got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. With Premier Couple Superstore, you don't pay those high prices, because you're going to go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
It always makes me giggle. So we're here with Ashley Voltoline. She's actually a sponsor of the show, and her business is called Get Me Automated. And so what we were talking about before break was the importance of a website because I was telling her I've come across a situation with a client where one of the managers was like, I don't see the importance of a website because like their website was not in great shape, and we went in there and they used a program called Pop Menu. So I had to go in there and figure out what this is, and it's through Cisco. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but I put all new pictures, and it looks so much better. But he's like, but I didn't see an increase in sales because of it. And so he's like, so it's not important, know? And I'm like, I didn't really know what to say to that.
Right.
So, but it's still, like I said, I think it still says so much about the credibility of a company, right?
Right. Yeah, and actually that makes me think I was in another networking group yesterday, and we were talking about members that we wanted to invite that were more established businesses. We weren't looking to do business with like startups. And so I think a lot of people have that mindset. And even if you've been in business for 20 years and you don't have a website, you just come across it comes across as this like new business type deal. And I think having a website helps people know that, okay, well, at least they've invested enough into, to buy a domain name and put up a website. So they're probably still going to be here next year when I need them. So it's just a trusting thing.
I kind of look at it as a cornerstone, like a home base.
Right.
Does that make sense? And it's like you might not, as for SEO purposes, you should go in there on a regular basis and do things or whatever.
Right.
But it's always there for credibility.
Right.
And then you use your socials for like the organic social or, so organic social media management and then even paid ads and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be fancy, right?
Right. It just one page is totally fine. And like it just shows that unless you have a hobby, like then you don't. Yeah, I wouldn't need a website for that. Like I see people selling like Christmas cookies on Facebook or something like that, and that's totally fine. Just have a Facebook page. But if you're a real business, you should have a website.
Agree 1,000%. And then, what are your thoughts about like the business pages, Facebook business pages? I mean, what do you think? How important do you think they are to?
They are important, and also like getting reviews on Facebook that affects your, ranking on Google as well.
Really?
Right. So if you go to someone's Google My Business and look at the side, you'll see like they got 7 reviews off Google, and then it'll also say how many 5-star reviews they have on Facebook. So that's
actually, let's talk about that for a second because reviews you hear it all the time now. Right. Review, and so. How many different places can somebody leave a review for a business?
Well, definitely Google's the one that everyone does. It just depends on your I'm a Keep partner, certified partner, so I get reviews on their platform, and it helps me get leads from them. So I think whatever is specific to your business and your niche, if there's a place, if you're like a local business, Yelp or Angie's List or some things like that, like whatever's relevant to your business.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because I see like Google My Business, and so just for the audience to know, Google My Business is when you type in a business name and you get like a list over here, but then in the right of the screen you'll see the business, and it usually has their address or website, and that's where you see the reviews, like how many and what the average is. So that is what Ashley means by Google My Business. So that's one place where people can leave reviews.
Right.
And then from what I understand, can people leave reviews on websites, or is that only if it's set up for that?
We would link your Google reviews to your website.
Okay.
Yeah, and have them showed there. And that's been popular lately so that they are live, and so you don't see someone's put a review from 7 years ago, and you're like, oh, I wonder if they're still doing good or not. So,
I wonder if they fixed that bathroom door. So and then I've not seen Facebook reviews. So where do you find that?
It's would you just go to someone's business page, and it's if I remember correctly, I believe it's the 3rd tab over.
Okay.
And it's just reviews, so you can leave one and see the previous ones.
And so you can connect those two to the the Google My Business and the Facebook to their website.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually really cool because, like you said, because one thing I noticed is like on people's websites they'll have reviews on there, but it's typed in reviews. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not current reviews that come in. It's ones that, like you said, it could be from like 7 years ago.
Or you don't even know it's real. I could have just made it up, So like that's why I like the ones that are live, and so then it's like a verified real Google review.
Right. So how do you filter once in case somebody leaves a bad one?
Oh yeah, so you can only filter it to show only 4 or 5 star.
Okay,
reviews.
well that's good to know.
Yeah,
that would be awful.
Yeah.
So okay, so we can do paid digital ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on LinkedIn. So what are the other main socials? Oh, what about X or whatever?
You can do, yes.
Yeah.
On X, yeah. So that's lawyers. We have 3 lawyers that are clients, and so one of them does ads on X. I think that's a good. Anything in tech would be a good. That would be a good place for you. Just wherever you're organically getting traction would also be a good place to then move into paid advertising. But if you're not really getting any traction, you're probably not going to be doing good with paid. So
right. And so what does that ad look like? I mean, like, so when I'm scrolling, I'm trying to think if I am being served ads because I'm my age and my demographic, everything like that. I know I'm in, like, people are like, I want to sell something. She's going to buy something.
Right.
So, but is it like while I'm scrolling, is that where it's going to be?
Yes. I mean, depending on the platform that you're doing. So Google Performance Max ads, those are popular. We're doing.
What is that?
A lot of those. So it's a Google AI helped ads. So they generally, the cost per lead is about half of like the regular search words. And so you can put things on LinkedIn, YouTube, Gmail, like all of the places that related to Google. And it just puts it in the best place that it thinks,
Okay, I'm not following that at all. So, so are we talking about like AdWords where people type in, like, they do a search for hairdresser?
Right. So yes, but this would be the Performance Max ones. So it would be, your little hairdresser ad would show up maybe between a YouTube video or, YouTube videos that have little 5-second ads.
Yeah.
So that would be put there, or it would be put in the searches. Like they just find the best place for.
And that's all algorithm too, right?
Yeah.
So you just put the information in there, you put the demo, and you let it do its thing.
Right. Yeah.
That's what's cool.
Yeah.
So what's so different about digital versus radio, television? Because I've been in radio forever. Is that with radio, the cost of the ad is completely dependent on the ratings of the radio station and how much inventory there is.
Oh.
And so there's only so many minutes in an hour that you can sell for commercials.
Right.
And as you sell those, the rate goes higher and higher because, like I said, it's like supply and demand.
Right.
Where with digital, it's like you pay like an amount, and they're not going to say, oh, okay, well, it's at the end of the month, we're low on inventory, so you have to pay double for that ad space, right?
Right. Yes and no, because it does sort of get competitive where they will up you, like, so during Black Friday, for example, ads went through. I mean, I would have recommended doing your ad like a couple weeks before the actual Black Friday, because
you were talking about Black Friday like 3 months before it came, like when you were on the show the last time.
Oh yeah, because it does get super competitive, and so like the prices, you're just like, if you want to get seen, you're gonna have to like pay
a premium,
3-4 times what you're normally would have paid, in September. So
wow, we used to have to get we'd get what's called a bump sheet too. A bump sheet is when you get a thing from the traffic department, and that's the people that put the commercials in, and they'll tell you what commercials didn't make the cut because the rate was so low. I hated bump sheets.
Oh,
but anyway, all right, we're gonna go to break, and when we get back, we're gonna have more Bad Radio. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Body Street of Winter Park. Experience the future of fitness at Body Street in Winter Park. Lose weight, build muscle, tone your body in only 20 minutes a week. Visit bodystreet.us, where fitness meets efficiency. And we are here with Ashley Voltoline, and her company is called Get Me Automated. And I've been kind of drilling her on all these different things, and I'll be the first to say, yeah, I don't understand that, but I'm glad that you do, because that's your company. So I actually I'm very comfortable referring people to you, because I trust that I know that it's not sometimes the easiest thing to describe what we're doing here, but it's all about knowing the right things to do to get the right information in front of the right people.
Right.
And that's the hard part,
Yeah.
is knowing all that. And so, I mean, when you meet with a company, what are some of the things that you talk about in order to try to decide where the best place for them is?
First of all, find out what is their service they're selling, or is it a product? Because that definitely and what is the goal? Are they just are they a new business just trying to get their name out there, get recognition, or are they trying to get leads? They want to actually
Their KPIs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to find out what's the goal, and then we decide how to go from there.
Right. Well, I mean, what are some of the questions you ask them? I mean, obviously, besides their KPIs. I mean, do you find out what they've done in the past? Does anything
exactly.
work? All that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what have they already been doing? Do they already have some assets photos, videos? Because we're going to need those. So professional, photos and videos. If they don't have those, they need to get that scheduled.
Yeah, take care of that stuff.
Right. And then find out what is their product worth. So if it's a $2,000, if they're going to get a lead and it's worth $2,000, it's probably okay to spend, $50, $100 on up
the cost.
to
You're talking about cost per lead now, right?
Yeah. So if it's just a $100 consultation, we don't want to be spending $50 to acquire them. So we need to find out where that's at, and then what they want to start with. I definitely some people are ready to jump on in with a big budget, and I definitely ask that we temper it and start off low, just to make sure we're doing it correctly. Yeah.
Well, that's actually really good. Lots of times people are you want to spend a lot of money? Yeah, I'll spend a lot of money. So that's, I'm a true believer in A/B testing.
Yes.
So when you let's just tell everybody what A/B testing is.
So we'll do one version of copy and ads versus another, and so it can be that, and it can also be sending it at different times, sending it to different group ad sets, groups of people, just finding out where the sweet spot is.
And so when you put all that out there, you're able to track where that lead comes from.
Right.
And so what you'll do is you'll collect all that information, and how long do you normally run an A/B test? A week, a month?
A week or two, depending on. I mean, generally a week is just enough for Google Ads to get to know what you're doing. So maybe 10 days would be more optimal.
Yeah, so the 10 days, that makes sense. And then you collect all that information, and then you analyze it, right?
Right. And so then we'll go in and we'll say okay, this ad. So here's an example. The golf company I'm talking about, they have 4 different instructors. They're all masters. They're all great. One of them is a woman, and 3 of them are older white hair men.
Right.
And so we have these videos, and we're running them. The videos with the guys get very little. The one with the girl, it's heads over feet above the rest. So we stopped running the ads. We got permission. So it's nothing against you guys, but her ads are doing better. So we turn those off, and that's where the money's being spent. So you just have to see what works.
Oh yeah, I know, because like I said, I work with froggers, and we do their social media, and then I look at Tilted Kilt, and I'm like, I can't compete with that, because Tilted Kilt, they do, it's like a national brand,
right?
But all of their ads are just
girls
holding beers with the cleavage and all the things, and I'm like, yeah, that's not
right.
I can't play in that world, unfortunately. I wouldn't even want to. But yeah, you're right. So that is, the sex selling thing is a given.
Yeah.
And I think that in certain situations it's okay to use it in advantage for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not exploiting this woman.
Yeah.
She is literally just, her ad does better.
Right. Yeah. Just because she's a woman. So yeah.
Well, to me that means she's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So good for her. I like that. But that's a good example. So you would test the several different ones, and then you would isolate the ones that do better,
right,
and then focus on those.
Right. And then another attribute we would do is like the ad set. So we found out that like UK and France, any countries over in Europe as well as the United States did like way better on ads when we did it to other parts of the world. We didn't get as good attraction, so we just cut off those places and sent.
Do you have clients that advertise outside of the States?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I know that you had one that was
She's in New Zealand.
New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
What other countries?
France, Germany, UK. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And how do you learn how to do that? Because that's like a trick in itself. I mean, their cultures are so different.
Right. Yeah, just
A/B testing.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's really cool. I didn't realize that. The one thing I do know, though, is that you can't just put an advertising script into like AI Translate and think that it's going to sound right.
Right.
Right? You have to have somebody that speaks the language or understands the dialect.
Definitely. Like, I mean, I'm sure you can too. When you read something, you're like, can instantly say, okay, this was AI. Like,
oh, I can.
Yeah. And it kind of is a turnoff. Like, I think it's efficient when you're trying to make like user manuals or something in your company. But when you're trying to talk to someone or have an ad, it needs to have that personal touch for sure. So.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I love like my chat. I said, "What do you want your name to be?" And it said it wanted the name to be Ace. So I have a relationship with Ace, and so I'll be like, and what I like about it is like I have all these ideas in my head. So if I'm gonna write a script, I will write. I just like it's like I just blurt it all in there.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Make this sound good," and then it puts it all in order. It makes it sound good, and then I edit it. I'm like, I'm not gonna say that, or I'm gonna take this out, or I'm gonna move this over here because like I said, I can tell right away.
Right.
But it's been amazing.
Oh yeah, just to help you gather your thoughts and put them in that's my biggest hurdle. Yeah.
Let's talk about AI then a little bit because in my business with bad marketing, it plays a huge role in efficiencies.
Yes. Yeah, so like I've bin using it a lot right now to write Python code,
What's Python code?
Code that like
what is its purpose?
Okay, yeah. So I've been using it for Zapier to do like API calls and like formatting data with Python, which I do understand Python, but is
it like an analysis? Is that what it is?
There's like
is it for advertising?
No, for programming.
Programming?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've just been using ChatGPT because it understands all the programming languages, and so it can help me write it and revise it. So it's saving me tons of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I like for me, it's proposals.
Oh yes.
Being able to put in like say this is the client, this is what the job is, and being for it to like put together the proposal so that it looks nice and it makes sense, and it also helps me from forgetting things.
Yes. Yeah, I record all my calls and then put them in there so that it gets all the little line items that I talked about in the call. So
that actually was really helpful with one of ours before because it reminded me of stuff that I had completely forgotten about and I didn't take notes on it.
Right.
I crack up at some of the how it relates something like when we said one thing and it made it say something completely else. I was like, that's what we meant, not that. But I think that like as far as AI's use in business, it could be. It's like, and the fact. Do you think that at some point it's going to cost us a lot more to have this technology once people really start to realize how useful it is?
I know. I've thought about that too. It could. I mean, it's open source, so I think there's always going to be that open source version where people can use it for free. So I don't think it's going to get like astronomical.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I really do because I know some people are scared of it, but I also think that people are going to really still start to realize how beneficial and helpful it can be in your business.
You can get so much more done. Like you can just like you said, writing a proposal, that would take like an hour.
Now you just put that in there. So, all right, well, we're going to run to break. When we get back, we'll have more Bad Radio, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Well, welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler system did last night? Probably not. So now's a good time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services today. And be sure to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about a water sensor too, so your lawn doesn't get too much water. 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. And I think the important thing right now is that when it's dry out, I heard it this past month that 75% of all fires happen in the month of December. So it's like your lawn's dry, everything's dry, and just make sure your lawn's watered.
Yeah.
All right, so we're here with Ashley Voltoline, and her company is called Get Me Automated, and we've kind of been jumping all over the place. But like I said, I find this stuff fascinating because in the world of business today, this stuff is so important. We're not in a world anymore where you can like write hand receipts and things like that. You can, but I mean, if we're talking about growth and longevity and that sort of thing, you kind of have to get on the technology boat.
Right.
So, when you earlier in the show, you mentioned like the different points of touch, like in order for people to know about your brand and trust that. And one of them you mentioned was newsletters. Now, when I hear newsletters, the first thing I think of is old school, right?
Yes.
So newsletters are still relevant, huh?
Well, so yeah, no, I have the same feeling when I hear that too. And so you think of like who wants to hear, what do I have to say, about my like lawn business or something? Who wants to hear about that? But so that's not the reason for them. And they kind of have come back up. So we talked about earlier in the year, the Google, getting your DMARC and SPF and all that. And so I've seen starting in July a lot, like a lower amount of emails coming into the inbox. They're ending up in spam.
Yeah.
So the reason that newsletters are important is because you need to be engaging with your customers or your client list at least once a month. Every 2 weeks.
Is that a good number, once a month?
Yeah, at the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go any further than that, you're going to risk only being in their spam. So when you get all these leads in, you go to networking events, you have people sign up, or you're paying for the ads and you're getting these emails. If you don't do anything with them within 4 months, it's a waste. So you have to, that's why newsletters, it's not to entertain people, it's not to send them cute tips, but that's what we do. It's really just to keep them so that you can, when you do have something to say or you do have a sale, you're going to end up in the inbox. So.
Right. Well, what we used to do in radio, and they probably still do, is we call it an email blast. Mm-hmm. Is that the same? Does that fall in the same category as like a newsletter?
Right. Yeah. And so normally, like sometimes in years past, people would do like maybe once a year they'll send like a birthday email to people, or they'll send like a Christmas blast or something. And that's kind of worked. But now if you can't just wait till their birthday and not email them the whole rest of the year, because on their birthday that email is going to spam and they're not going to see it. So that's why it's important to keep. It doesn't have to be a newsletter. If you regularly have something to say to your clients more than that, then that's great. I think most people don't.
Yeah, I get annoyed when I get too many. Like, if I go on a flight and I use Frontier, then I'm like inundated with Frontier, promotional things, or Spirit, or I used this pizza place the other day, and I think I accidentally said okay on that, and I literally get an email a day, and I'm just like, okay, that's overkill. Right now, to be honest with you, I'll probably never go back just because I'm annoyed now.
No, I have the same ones, and I'm like, oh my gosh, please unsubscribe. Like, so I think a newsletter, just short and sweet. Or some people really do have a lot to say and a lot to update their clients on. So that's great. But it's really just to keep your leads that you've acquired. You've either bought them or you've worked hard for it, networking, and so you keep them.
Right. Yeah. And I think that, I guess for every business is different. Like if you're in a type of business where you can do an email blast and offer like $5 off 35 or something like that. Right. Then I think that because I noticed that, because I do those again for one of my clients, and I noticed that when we have a nice offer, and then you just put it in the title, and your percentage of open rate is so much higher than just a standard
like what we've been doing this
How do you come up with content for that? Do you guys actually will write the content for the client, or are your expectations for them to tell you what they want?
So we have different tiers. So the first tier, they give us the content mostly, and we'll touch it up and run it through
Like
a
an
program.
AI,
And a program that will tell us like these words like sale or free or money or things like that, or other free words like home-based business. Like those things are going to get flagged into spam. So just making sure you're not using too many of those spammy words. Yeah.
So, okay. So, yes, let's talk a little bit more about that, because that's been a big deal as far as the crackdown on spam emails.
Right.
So there is a process that you can go through to verify your email. What exactly is that? It's basically to say you're a real person, or you're a real business, you're a legit person or business, right?
Oh, to verify your email?
Yeah. So
address?
so when you email somebody from your business account, from your business email, it doesn't go to their spam.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that's like the DMARC and the DKIM that we set up. So that verifies that like you really own this domain and you're really allowed to send. So every time you send through a third party provider like MailChimp or something, you would also need to verify. That's the DKIM.
Right. So in order for you to do those newsletters via email, you have to go through that process.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Well, or it's all going to end up in spam everywhere.
They probably won't even send, honestly. MailChimp
Really?
won't even send unless you have that set up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good, because then you can't ruin your reputation.
Right.
Your domain reputation. Yeah.
I still wonder how sometimes my stuff comes through, though.
Right.
I'm like, how did I get this? It's so wrong on so many levels. And I have every protection known to man on my email, but somehow certain things still wiggle their way through. It's kind of crazy.
I see that, and I hear that with like phone calls too. And I think there's a lot of like burner emails and burner phones. Like they'll just do it, and then they know they're getting shut down, but they're just gonna do it and then open up another one right after that. So that's still a thing.
Well, it is pretty interesting though. So like I said, newsletters are still relevant, and that's interesting to me that they became kind of back into the world of relevancy.
Definitely. Like I feel like they're definitely like a 10-year ago thing, and then just this year they've kind of like we're setting them up like left and right for people, just because people are realizing like, oh my gosh, I have this list, whether it's like 500 people or 20,000. You want to.
Well, let's talk about collecting those emails. So what are some of the different ways that clients can get the email lists?
So like networking groups that
So creating their own,
right,
getting them themselves.
Yeah, that's one. And then adding them into your list. Running lead ads is huge. That's a great one. So what
does that look like?
So for Miss Biz,
Miss Biz is a podcast for one of our show sponsors as well.
So they have a lead magnet. They give away this free template, and when someone signs up on it's a Facebook ad, they put in their email address, and so we have a Zap set up to send that email right into their CRM.
Okay.
So that's one way to collect them, and I think Joe does that too, as well.
Okay. Yes. All right. Well, that's really interesting. So is that, and then you can also set something up on people's websites too, right?
Right. Those definitely you're going to need something like Spam Kill, because the forms on websites are 80. Well, that's a low number. I would say 90% spam bots versus real submissions. Those are kind of
really.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you open up a website and you get a pop-up that says join our VIP club, that's not good?
Oh, it's good for the user, but for the person who owns the website, they're probably getting about 90% of those are spam bots, and about 10% are like real submissions. So, but there are ways, like we have like Spam Kill we put on and help it so that you don't get that.
So that's like bots checking out their website?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. That's so crazy. All right. Clock says we're going to break. So there's the music. All right. Well, we're on to break. When we get back, we'll have more Bad Radio. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome back as we launch into the second hour of Bad Radio. And we are here with Ashley Voltoline, and her business is called Get Me Automated. And she's been on a couple of times, and they also sponsor the show. So thank you so much for that. And I'm excited to have like another hour to talk about stuff. So we talked a lot about, and like we are all talking about in the digital space, because computers are here to stay, and there's nothing that that's just the way it is.
Right.
out of curiosity, though, do you think there'll ever come a time where, like, we revert back to, like, things that are not so AI driven or digital driven? Do you ever think that maybe at one point society is going to be like, okay, we're going to put a break on this?
I hope so. That's it.
But that's your business.
No, I know, but I like honestly, all my spare time when I'm not in front of a computer, I'm doing things like yoga or cooking or anything to get me not in front of something digital. So, I mean, I don't hope it all goes away, but I do hope that people find a balance because I feel like it's too much.
Well,
like, yeah.
you know what I think, and like we'll go off topic just a little bit, is I think that especially for our young people, it's information overload.
Yes.
I know that my children have a lot harder time than what my husband and I had, simply because we were not privy to all the information that our kids are too.
Right.
So we didn't have to worry about stuff like they did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I'm on a global scale, worrying about bombing, but like we just didn't
we didn't
have
even know
all this stuff.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, and when I was a teenager, I was just like, where's the next party at? Like, where's, you know what I mean? Who can I talk to on the phone until 4 o'clock in the morning? I wasn't worried. I mean, I wasn't in a chat room with like 500 people from all over. You know what I mean? I just didn't have access to that information, and so I didn't worry about it.
Right.
But I see that, and I do hope too. I hope that at some point they people take a step back and just for the mental health of our young people growing up, because like I said, I don't think our brains were built to access that much information.
No, I agree. Not all the time. So.
Have you ever heard the term doom scrolling?
Yes.
Do you doom scroll?
I did, and so I have a lock on my apps right now. I just lowered my Instagram time down from 15 minutes to 5 minutes a day, which is great because oh my gosh, you could like it. I rationalize it by saying I'm doing this for business, but then because I start off that way, and then it's all of a sudden, like you said, doom scrolling, and then you're like, oh my gosh, 28 minutes have gone by. Like I can't do that. So
right,
yeah, I put timers on.
That's great. Here, pull that microphone a little bit closer to you there. Okay, so I will doom scroll a little bit, and it's only at nighttime when I'm trying to go to sleep, because I will watch pointless things to make me not think about stuff.
Right.
And I think I told you this. I don't know if I told you this, but one of the things that I've come across that helps me relax is hoof cleaning.
Oh, yes, you did.
Literally watching them clean like cow's hooves. And it's disgusting, but I'm always like, oh, it helps the cow. And, and it makes and for some reason it just helps me relax. And then, but it's never more than like 5-10 minutes.
Right.
And then, by then Tom's sound asleep, and then it just helps me shut my brain off, so I don't feel guilty about like that kind of thing.
I think when you're just like looking, I think it's also just takes away a lot of it messes with people's brain chemicals, and you're always comparing yourself to other people's lives, and which aren't even real. So
it's very true. Yeah. Well, that leads us to content, because like I said, the content that I relax to is probably, and I'm sure there's probably so many random things out there that help people relax. And I'm not here to judge any of it, whatever works for you. But having dynamic content is so important in whether or not your digital ads or your success is going to be. And so, we talked about A/B testing, but how do you help your clients come up with the right content?
Yeah. So they'll send us ideas or points that they're trying to get across, and then we'll come up with after what works. I have my own opinions on what works best for me, but then I like to test it out on people of different ages and see what stands out to them. But as far as like dynamic content inside of newsletters and things like we have a client who does lawns, so big hardscape lawn jobs. So he ran a special in July, a 30% off coupon that we sent, and then he got like a ton of calls for people that were mad that had done their jobs in June, and like, what? We just spent like 10 grand, and now we could have gotten it for 6,000. So making sure that you're sending a coupon like that only to people who are not past clients.
That's what dynamic content means?
Yeah. So
I thought it meant like creative stuff. People stop scrolling.
Yeah, just like tailoring, making sure that you can change the content dependent on like where your customers are at in the journey. So if it's just a lead, you're going to offer them lots of coupons and sign up. But if they just bought from you, don't send them that coupon because that's going to make them mad. So just knowing, and also knowing like maybe some of your clients like gardening. So you're going to include this gardening piece, and some people, might like shoes. So whatever is for them, you would just base your content off that.
So what you're saying is, okay, like we all bought something from retail and then saw something online that said it's now 30% off.
Right.
And we're pissed about it.
Right.
So what you're saying is like you have technology that can stop me from seeing that.
30% off now. Yes.
That's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it happens all the time. But I mean, that's pretty important because if it's a $10,000 like yard,
that's a lot of money to get mad at. Yeah, so I get it.
That too.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So that's something that I would never even thought about as far as like being able to stop that from happening. So again, very, very interesting. And the fact that you have ways of doing that, I don't even begin how you figure that out. But anyway, so but again, let's actually talk about some of the actual content. Mm-hmm. So when you said that you have almost like a test group, how do you do that? Do you have certain people that you hit, or do you have like a company you use to test things or ideas?
No, I mean, I have my kids, which are younger, like in their 20s, and then my daughter's 19, so they're kind of in a target audience for if that's the business target. Mm-hmm. And then I have peers who are in some of my other partner groups, and I'll run things past them and vice versa, so we can bounce things off each other.
Yeah, no, that's a lot what I do too.
Yeah.
Is I use my what's around me,
right?
Because I learned a long time ago that what appeals to me is not like I listen to rock music, or you know what I mean. I think back in the day when I was trying to target people with radio, I'm definitely not in the regular like, Magic 107.7 demographic. I might be more now because it's Christmas music all day, every day. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that makes sense. So do you guys do content creation, or is that something that you kind of outsource? You kind of do everything, though. That's when I think about it.
Yeah, we don't create social media content for people. The content that we would create would be for ads and for newsletters.
Right.
Yeah. And for websites.
Well, let's talk a little bit about AdWords, because you mentioned something about it a little bit before, and that's one thing that I don't entirely understand how that works.
So you're bidding on keywords and key phrases. So when someone goes in,
so who are you bidding to? Like, is there a platform that you go on and you type in the words that you're interested in?
Yeah. So on Google Ads, so you would say like I'm, doing teeth whitening, and so that's what I'm trying to get. So a teeth whitening in Winter Park. So there's probably 4 other dentists who are also, vying for those keywords. And so depending on what they're paying and what they're willing to pay, that's, we just have to, it's like an auction.
Really? So. Is it live, or is there,
no,
it's all through a computer?
Yeah, exactly. And so, and that things like time of year, like maybe teeth whitening is more popular in May, right before,
wedding season or whatever. Yeah.
So it might, your cost per lead might raise or lower during time. So just going on, and it does change. It's not really, sometimes it's a set it and forget it, but there's so many factors, like your the other people that you're bidding against, like you don't know.
Do you know what they're bidding?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't know if it's a good bid or not. All right. Actually, I'm looking at the clock. Ken's in there sleeping, so we're getting ready to go to break. All right. You guys stay tuned for more Bad Radio coming up.